bringing you the weather. And let me tell you, I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. There's nothing but blue skies coming your way. I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is Dick Whitney bringing you the weather. This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. And let me tell you, I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way.
It is Saturday, May 3rd, and you are watching You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network. I am Bill Smith, and I am joined, as always, by the man, the myth, the legend, Feo Grande himself, Omari Ellis. So, Omari, how was your sports week?
Mixed, but exciting nonetheless, because there's lots to talk about as usual. You know what I'm saying about that. Some things I'm happy, but, we'll go.
So much to talk about that we are not going to talk about some. We only talk about 3 topics here on You Don't Watch Sports, just to sprinkle a little bit of sports information into a casual conversation as we are your guiding light to the sea that is sports talk. Now, Omari, topic number 1, we got some UFL going on.
Yeah. So UFL, we got some games going on. The standings are kind of changed. They're about what you would expect, at least on the XFL side in our division. The DC Defenders and the St. Louis Battlehawks battling it out for first and second place. At the moment, the Battlehawks are in second place because they're 4-2. While the Defenders are 4-1, but both have 4 wins there. The Brahmas 1-4. The Rocks team still not getting it done, continuing their strategy from last year, and the Arlington Renegades are 3-3. So while it's kind of a dogfight in that division, the Brahmas ain't in it. The dogfight is no place for a bull. Meanwhile,
we're looking for playoffs as far as a Battlehawks fan. We need to get inside of those playoffs.
I agree.
Are we there yet?
I mean,
at what point are you confident?
At what point am I confident? When we actually are ahead of the Defenders in the rankings.
You want to be 1 in the league.
Yes, or at the very least in our division, because being second place last year got us where we weren't in the playoffs, and even though we had I think a better record. Yeah. So. Yeah, I want to be number 1 in the division before I'm Meanwhile, the Birmingham Stallions, the undefeated Stallions, have been very defeated. Well, I say very. It's only been 5 games, but they've been defeated twice this season, making it a dogfight in the USL division with them and the Michigan Panthers. The Memphis Showboats are doing what they did last season, much like the Brahmas. They are at 1-4. Meanwhile, last night we got our fourth win against the Renegades, 12-6. The Battlehawks did. Today we've got the Showboats taking on the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks are 2-3, so they're not doing that much better than the Showboats. So the Showboats are gonna start getting some wins. Now's the time to do it. Meanwhile, tomorrow we got the Defenders versus the Panthers. So the Panthers are leading the USFL division right now. So if they beat so they're a good candidate to beat the Defenders, is what I'm saying, which would make them 4-2, much like us. And then the Brahmas are pretty much going to be feeding the Stallions based on these two teams' records, but that's tomorrow. But yeah, UFL, figured we go ahead and touch in on it because we skipped it last week because we had other things to talk about, like the draft and Shador and all that stuff. But yeah, that's a quick little touch up on the UFL and what's going on there.
All right, well, we'll jump into top number 2, which is the NHL playoffs. It is hot in these streets here in St. Louis, as St. Louis have climbed back to tie the series 3-3. They are going into the final game of that series on Sunday. So as obviously St. Louis fans, we are rooting for the Blues there. The Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche is also neck and neck at 3 games.
Ooh, competitive playoffs
this weekend. Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers have already moved on from the first round, and they are set to face each other in round number 2 as soon as that gets started.
And those were 6-game series. So I say we got 2 7-game series that are still going on, and those 2 were 6-game series. So this is a competitive playoff so far.
That's right. And on the other side of the bracket, they are all finished up, but we still had no sweeps on that side of things. You had Toronto moving on. They are set to face the Florida Panthers, who also defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning. Then we have Washington moving on and facing the Carolina Hurricanes in the second round of the matchup. So I think a lot of our picks that we were looking at, a lot of the teams that we were associating with, are still in this thing.
Yeah,
we
still
have our Blues. We have our Canadian representation in Edmonton
and Toronto.
And then we also have your Florida team going through, as well as your Golden Knights pick.
Yeah,
that is associated to your college. So we got a lot of representation here. We picked well on the NHL.
Yeah, I like that. We pick well on the NHL. Yeah, but now we're going to say hey to the NBA as we move on to the NBA playoffs. And that round 1 is pretty much all but sounded up. There's about 2 series that are still going on. But first off, the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the boys ran over the Grizzlies. John Morant got shot down at his playoff hopes, losing 4-0 against OKC. The Nuggets and the Clippers duking it out. The Nuggets, they fired their head coach. People are like, oh yeah, you overestimated them going to the playoffs. But they got Jokic, okay? But he's going up against Kawhi, the Claw. We got that going on. They're laughing at each other. 3-3. That series is tied. That's going down to the wire, game 7. Meanwhile, the Lakers, 4-1, lost to Ant-Man and the Timberwolves. You know, I saw a thing early this week, Charles Barkley saying before going into game 5 that if LeBron loses this series, he should not be considered in the top 5 of players of all time. Said a lot of people are agreeing that LeBron is a fraud, stat pattern type things has been popping out so much because of this. He had Luka Doncic, and he still lost in the first round. You know who didn't lose in the first round? Michael Jordan. That's who didn't lose in the first round.
I'm so tired of this conversation.
I'm just saying what the folks is saying. You know, the casual sports fan.
I'm just saying what I'm saying.
The casual sports fan says, you know, goats win. That's all they're saying. Meanwhile, we got the Rockets versus the Warriors. The Warriors, they're a 7-game series going on right now. And
on the losing end of things, they're going on losing 2 in a row. So in this win or go home game, tied up 3-3.
Yeah, but I want Steph to win, which probably means the Rockets are gonna. We are talking about a 2 seed versus a 7 seed here. These are the 7 seed Warriors, and I'm pretty sure, didn't we discuss Butler getting injured or something? There's something that happened.
He was able to return. For instance, last night, in their 115 to 107 loss against Houston, he racked up 42 minutes and 27 points.
Okay. 27 points, 42 minutes. All right, yeah, he's playing.
So he's playing. He's
Yeah,
out there.
his injury ain't no excuse. Oh, I will say, speaking of injuries as an excuse, LeBron did go down late in Game 5, and it appears he may have hurt his knee. Had a serious knee injury in that game. You know, I didn't see the game itself when it happened. At first, I saw people accusing him of doing his classic flopping on the floor. They're like, look, LeBron trying to flop for calls near the end of the game. But then it turns out he may have had an MCL sprain, in which case, yeah, I don't think he was flopping. But in that instance,
The majority of the things that I saw were basically everything that people were saying immediately after the trade happened, which is it's incredible. Luka is an incredible player, but now they have no big man and no defense.
yeah, LeBron not helping out on the defense.
That's the reason why they lost.
Yeah, no big man, no defense. LeBron having like one of the lowest plus minuses in the playoffs this season, or in the league this season. LeBron's not been himself, but he's 40. We get it. But yeah, sucks to see him go that early. But then in the East, we got the team that's like, haha, the team that's happy probably that LeBron's out of there because they get to show off that they don't need him. Cleveland Cavaliers swept the Heat. Going in there, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell and the boys going up against Tyler Halliburton and the Pacers, who eliminated the Bucks in 5 games. Tyler Halliburton's dad talking shit to Giannis Antetokounmpo on the court and all of that. He says he was just talking to someone next to him, but you know the footage is out there. Decipher it for yourself. Meanwhile, in the sad series, in the sense that one of these teams. Both of these teams have had like little success as of late or in the past like 20 years. So you wanted to see either of them, but they had to team kill each other to get the Cinderella story going. The New York Knicks beat the Detroit Pistons 4-2 in 6 games, and they're going against those damn Boston Celtics.
What a classic series matchup to have happen in round 2 here. New York versus Boston. Celtics versus
the reigning, defending, undisputed champions going up against the team that hasn't done in decades. I'm rooting for the team that hasn't done in decades. If you don't know me by now, you will never know me. I think that's how the song goes. Bottom line is, let's go Knicks.
All right.
Yeah. We breezed through this, yeah.
You don't watch sports. Just to sprinkle that little bit of sports information in your casual conversation as we are guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. If you like hearing us talk about other nonsense, we do a bunch of it here on this channel. On Mondays, we talk about wrestling mostly. A show called Mock Draft. On Tuesdays, we have This Guy Hasn't Seen, where we share media back and forth, usually movies that one guy has seen, the other one hasn't, and we talk about it. It's kind of like a book club, but with movies. You should do it with a friend of yours. You don't have to record it or turn it into a podcast or anything. I think it's just a really cool way for two adults to... Sometimes adults need a reason to hang out other than just
hanging out.
And this is a good way to bake in a reason to
do
this. And then we have whatever we want on Wednesdays whenever they want. And then you are watching You Don't Watch Sports here on Saturdays.
That's right.
Omari, where else can they find you on the internet?
You can also watch me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/Giotavi. That's GIOTAVI. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming Earth Day 240. You know what that means. I have a Twitter of the same handle, Giotavi, and need to start posting a lot more on that. But we got things going down the pipeline. We go stuff as we go on. But yeah, that's about what we got going on today. You got anything else you want to say to the folks, Bill? All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. And we had a pretty short episode this week, but you know, that's what happens when we get the facts to you. We'll see you next week. Adiosness. Bah! That's how the goat sounds.